Hello everyone, welcome to another series of today's GK. Let's begin with previous day's practice question. Question was, which among the following acts introduced various provisions to prevent the mischievous practice of evergreening of patents? Indian Patent and Design Act 2011, Biological Diversity Act 2002, the Indian Patents Act 1970 or Plant Variety Protection Act 1970. The correct answer is option C, the Indian Patents Act 1970. Recently, the Indian Patent Office rejected US pharmaceutical giant Johnson & Johnson's attempt for evergreening of patent on manufacturing of the anti-tuberculosis drug bedaquiline in India beyond July 2023. Bedaquiline is a crucial drug in the treatment of multi-drug resistant TB patients. The evergreening of patents is a practice of tweaking drugs in order to extend their patent term and thus their profitability. The Indian Patents Act 1970 introduced many provisions to prevent the mischievous practice of evergreening of patents. This is to aid millions of people who can't afford the expensive modified drugs as well as the development of the domestic generic drug market. Therefore, option C is correct. Now let's begin today's session. First question is, in the context of Indian polity, consider the following statements with reference to the High Courts. 1. The 7th Amendment Act of 1956 authorized the Parliament to establish a common High Court for 2 or more states. 2. Articles 214 to 231 in Part 8 of the Constitution deal with the High Courts. Which of the statement or statements given above is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer is option A, 1 only. On this day, that is 5th April 1848, the Guwahati High Court was established. In this regard, the Guwahati High Court has celebrated its foundation day recently. The institution of High Court originated in India in 1862 when the High Courts were set up at Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. In 1866, a 4th High Court was established at Allahabad. As of now, that is April 2023, there are 25 high courts in the country. Let us tell you that the Constitution of India provides for a high court for each state, but the 7th Amendment Act of 1956 authorized the Parliament to establish a common high court for 2 or more states or for 2 or more states and a union territory. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Articles 214 to 231 in Part 6 of the Constitution deal with the organization, independence, jurisdiction, powers, procedures, and so on of the High Courts. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. Therefore, option A is correct. Next question is, which of the following is or are the mandates of the National Center for Good Governance or NCGG? 1. Conducting training at both national and international level to promote good governance. 2. Undertaking initiatives for citizen-centric governance. 3. Carrying out studies on issues related to foreign policies. Select the correct answer using the code given below. 1 only, 2 only, 1 and 2 only, or 1, 2 and 3 only. The correct answer is option C, 1 and 2 only. Recently, the Sri Lanka President Ranil Wickremesinghe has urged India's National Center for Good Governance to help establish a University of Governance and Public Policy in Sri Lanka. NMCG is an autonomous institute under the aegis of Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, Government of India. Its head office is at New Delhi and registered office at Mussoorie. It was constituted in February 2014. NMCG aims to promote good governance by conducting training at both national and international level. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Carrying out studies on issues relating to governance. Hence, statement 3 is not correct. Organizing consultations, workshops to promote improved governance. Undertaking initiatives for citizen-centric governance. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Therefore, option C is correct. Next question is, the Department of Women and Child Development came into existence as a separate ministry in which of the following years? 2006, 1998, 2002 or 1990? The correct answer is option A, 2006. Recently, the second G20 Empower meeting of Ministry of Women and Child Development started in Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. The theme of the meeting is Women's Empowerment, a win-win for equity and economy. The Department of Women and Child Development, Government of India came into existence as a separate ministry with effect from 30th January 2006. It is to be noted that since 1985, it was a department under the Ministry of Human Resources Development. Therefore, option A is correct. The broad mandate of the ministry is to have holistic development of women and children. As a nodal ministry for the advancement of women and children, the ministry formulates plans, policies. It guides and coordinates the efforts of both governmental and non-governmental organizations working in the field of women and child development. The ministry has 6 autonomous organizations: National Institute of Public Cooperation and Child Development, National Commission for Women, National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, Central Adoption Resource Agency, Central Social Welfare Board, and Rashtriya Mahila Kosh. Next question is regarding Syria. Which of the following statements are true? 1. It is located on the east coast of the Caspian Sea. 2. Idlib province is a city in northwestern Syria. 3. Its capital Damascus is located on the Barda River. Select the correct answer using the code given below. 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 3 only, or 1, 2 and 3. The correct answer is option B, 2 and 3 only. Recently, a US strike in Syria has killed a senior ISIS leader who planned attacks into Europe. Syria is a country located on the east coast of the Mediterranean Sea in southwestern Asia. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. Its area includes territory in the Golan Heights that has been occupied by Israel since 1967. Idlib province is a city in northwestern Syria. Hence, statement 2 is correct. The Euphrates River is the most important water source and the only navigable river in Syria. Its capital Damascus is located on the Barda River. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Therefore, option B is correct. Let us tell you that Syria is bounded by Turkey to the north, Iraq to the east and southeast, Jordan to the south, and Lebanon and Israel to the southwest. Next question is SLINEX 23 maritime exercise was recently seen in the news. It is related with India Nepal, India Sri Lanka, India Bangladesh, or India China. The correct answer is option B, India Sri Lanka. The 10th edition of India Sri Lanka bilateral maritime exercise SLINEX 23 is scheduled at Colombo from 3 to 8 April 2023. Therefore, option B is correct. The exercise is being conducted in 2 phases: the harbour phase from 3 to 5 April 2023, followed by a sea phase from 6 to 8 April 2023. Indian Navy is being represented by INS Kiltan and INS Savitri. Maritime patrol aircraft, helicopters, and special forces from both the sides would also participate in the exercise. The previous edition of SLINEX was conducted off Visakhapatnam from 7 to 12 March 2022. It aims to enhance the interoperability, improving mutual understanding and exchanging best practices while jointly undertaking multifaceted maritime operations. Next question is Infrastructure Resilience Accelerator Fund or IRAF is associated with which of the following Conference of Parties or COP? COP 20, 22, 24 or 27? The correct answer is option D, COP 27. Recently, the Prime Minister of India addressed the 5th International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure 2023. In the speech, he appreciated the Infrastructure Resilience Accelerator Fund. Last year, the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure announced IRAF, a CDRI multi-partner trust fund at COP27 Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. Around $50 million in financial commitments have been announced for IRAF over an initial duration of 5 years. The fund aims to support global action on disaster resilience of infrastructure systems, especially in developing countries and small island developing states. One of the first initiatives to be supported by IRAF is the Infrastructure for Resilient Island States. Therefore, option D is correct. It is worth mentioning that the CDRI was launched in 2019 at the United Nations Climate Action Summit in New York. It is the Government of India's second major global initiative after the International Solar Alliance. It demonstrates India's leadership in climate change and disaster resilience issues. Next question is which sections of the RTI Act requires suo motu disclosure of information by each public authority? Section 1, 2, 3 or 4? The correct answer is option D, Section 4. Recently, the Central Information Commissioner said that the disposal of RTI cases has increased from 28,793 in 2021-22 to 29,104 in 2022-23. Right to Information Act 2005 mandates timely response to citizen requests for government information. The basic object of the Right to Information Act is to empower the citizens, promote transparency and accountability in the working of the government. Section 4 of the RTI Act requires suo motu disclosure of information by each public authority. Therefore, option D is correct. The Act also provides for appointment of information commissioners at central and state level. Let us tell you that the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights 1966 states that everyone shall have the right to freedom of expression, the freedom to seek and impart information and ideas of all kinds. Next question is, National Wetland Decadal Change Atlas 2017 is associated with which of the following? Wetlands International, Niti Aayog, Space Applications Center or National Wetlands Coalition? The correct answer is option C, Space Applications Center. Recently, the Minister of State for Environment, Forest and Climate Change informed the Lok Sabha regarding National Wetland Decadal Change Atlas 2017. As per the National Wetland Decadal Change Atlas 2017 published by Space Applications Center, ISRO, Ahmedabad, a total of 231,195 wetlands have been mapped in the country. Therefore, option C is correct. It is worth mentioning that India has 75 wetlands of international importance as Ramsar sites covering an area of 1.33 million hectares across the country. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has launched Mission Sahbhagita on the occasion of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. It is an important step towards participatory conservation and wise use of wetlands to enable a society ownership approach with communities leading at the forefront. It has also launched Save Wetlands campaign as part of mission this year at Goa on the occasion of World Wetlands Day 2023. Next question is, in the context of India's flora and fauna, Project Snow Leopard was launched in which of the following years? 2001, 1973, 2009 or 2018? The correct answer is option C, 2009. Snow leopards are often referred to as the ghost of mountains because of their reclusive nature and ability to stay hidden and camouflaged. Snow leopards act as an indicator of the health of the mountain ecosystem in which they live due to their position as the top predator in the food web. Hemis National Park is the biggest national park in India and also has a good presence of snow leopard. The snow leopard is listed as vulnerable on the IUCN World Conservation Union's Red List of the Threatened Species. It is listed in Schedule 1 of the Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The Government of India has identified the snow leopard as a flagship species for the high-altitude Himalayas. In this regard, the Project Snow Leopard was launched in 2009 to promote an inclusive and participatory approach to conserve snow leopards and their habitat. Therefore, option C is correct. Last question is regarding Lord Mahavir. Consider the following statements. 1. He was the 23rd Tirthankar of the Jain religion. 2. He was born in 599 BC in Bihar, India. Select the correct answer using the code given below. 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer is option B, 2 only. Recently, the Vice President of India greeted the people on the eve of Mahavir Jayanti. Lord Mahavir was the 24th and the last Tirthankar of the Jain religion. According to Jain philosophy, all Tirthankars were born as human beings, but they have attained a state of perfection or enlightenment through meditation and self-realization. They are the gods of Jains. Tirthankars are also known as Arihants or Jinas. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. Mahavir was born in 599 BC in Bihar, India. At the age of 30, he left his family and royal household, gave up his worldly possessions including clothing, and became a monk. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Therefore, option B is correct. At the heart of right conduct of Jains lie the 5 great vows: non-violence, that is ahimsa; truthfulness, satya; non-stealing, asteya; chastity, brahmacharya; and non-possession or non-attachment, that is aparigraha. Now it's time for the practice question. Which among the following is not one of the fundamental duties mentioned in the Constitution of India? To abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so, to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, or to participate and vote in the election. Send the answer of this question in the comment section. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for watching.